This is a great game. Game number 2, liveoddsportsbookreview.com. UCLA at Texas A&M. The Aggies are 354 the total. Rosen's a stud, but UCLA has a new offensive coordinator, which we'll talk about in a second, and they're rebuilding with the wide receivers. So the young guy has to learn and has to teach a new offense to these guys, Teddy.
Yeah, for the second straight year. He not only has to learn a new offense, he's got to do it for the second straight year, and he's got to teach it to a bunch of guys that may not be quite as acclimated to the system as he is thus far. And we like Josh Rosen, no question. We have, at least I have, some issues about the UCLA defense. I mean, this defense collapsed down the stretch last year. That was certainly something had to do with some injuries, but they also looked a little bit soft. And you look at some of the stuff that's happened in the offseason with that Bruin defense, and I'm not convinced that they're going to be able to bring their A game in an environment where it's going to be hot, it's going to be humid, and you're going to have an opposing team that is going to be playing as fast as they can possibly play. For the Bruins, with some inexperience on the line and some inexperience in the secondary, to me, it looks like something of a problematic matchup. For UCLA to beat A&M, they're going to have to outscore A&M. This isn't going to be a game where they're going to be able to, I look for them to get stop after stop and keep the Aggies off the scoreboard.
Now, this is interesting because we both think Sumlin needs to win at least 9 games. He's on the hot seat. He's coaching for his job. And they're ticked off at him because of the on-the-field performance. And not to mention, quarterbacks are transferring out left and right. So his guy this year is the Oklahoma transfer, Trevor Knight, who hasn't been the same since Katy Perry said, "Call me on national television." What happened to this guy?
Well, I'll tell you what. If you've been reading the reports out of A&M camp, and again, these are just reports. Haven't seen him play in a game. But there's a lot of positive reports coming out of camp about Trevor Knight. And this is a guy who, as you mentioned, showed enormous potential, and then it all kind of went away from him. And now he's been biding his time, waiting for his chance. Trevor Knight's going to have his chance on a pretty big stage for Texas A&M. And again, based on all the reports coming out of camp, he's had a phenomenal camp, and the Aggies offense, at least on paper, looks pretty darn good.
How about this? So now, that, as we mentioned, Mazzone was the UCLA OC last year. Now he's the Texas A&M OC. I think this works both ways, where he knows the UCLA personnel, but UCLA knows his play calling tendencies.
Yeah, I would say the advantage goes to A&M there. When a guy was on one coaching staff and he transferred over to the other coaching staff, the advantage goes to the new coaching staff because he brings all the knowledge of how they game plan, how their systems work, what the other team's trying to do, what their disguises are like. I would say there's no advantage for UCLA to having their guy on the A&M sidelines here. It's definitely a prep edge for Kevin Sumlin and the Texas A&M Aggies. There's a prep edge in the next game we're going to talk about too.
Hey guys, for the full video, go to sbrpicks.com.
Research before you bet. Be sure to check out SBR Picks for the best game predictions, breakdowns, and much, much more.